Hi, D. Because I know you're not sick of hearing that yet. I wanted to revisit those old Harvest Moons. Well, like one of them, and Old Harvest Moon. And I know you said not to do it. They're not the same. Don't do it. And I didn't listen to you. I thought maybe we had different preferences when it came to Harvest Moon. Like, because I know you really got into Stardew Valley, which is like, okay, not officially Harvest Moon, but at the same time is like the best Harvest Moon. But for me, I guess I felt like there was so much in there, which would have been great when I first got into Harvest Moon. I was very welcoming of like any new element to the game. When I played the Super Nintendo version, I didn't have a job, I didn't have school, I didn't have friends. So there were probably like a few consecutive days where I did nothing but play Harvest Moon and maybe eat and then go to sleep. And that was great. But it was also terrible, because, like, what a waste of space, you know? Like, I was the waste of space. But I mean, come on, like, Harvest Moon, 24/7. Not really like 24/7, because I had to sleep and eat. But it was a pretty sweet ride until I realized how pathetic that was. Harvest Moon is one of those games that relies really heavily on time management. Like, you have to be able to manage your time and your, like, okay, resource management, but like the main resources are time and energy. And you get to a point where you're like, man, I'm really good at managing my time. But then you look at the clock and you realize you've been playing Harvest Moon for 5 hours and you forgot to go to school. So maybe it doesn't really teach you how to manage time. It's weird because it's not like other games. You can't just save whenever you want, depending on the version of Harvest Moon. I know some Harvest Moons you can save whenever you want, but a lot of times you can't save whenever you want, and there's no, like, checkpoint or milestone. Okay, with Pokemon, you've got the 8 Pokemon gyms in the Elite Four. You beat one of the gyms and you're like, okay, I did a tough thing, I'm gonna take a break, go do something else for a while. Or you can look forward and say like, okay, I'll just get past this gym and then I'll turn it off and I'll go to school, or I'll do my homework, or whatever. But with Harvest Moon, you've just got like this never-ending chain of overlapping tasks. Like, you've got chores and you've got quests and whatever else. Every morning you wake up, you gotta water the crops, milk the cows, go build interpersonal relationships with whatever townsfolks that you need to, scrounge around for some sellables in the mountain. Sellables, you know, like bamboo shoots that you can sell. It's been a while. And then you've got like bigger goals that take longer, like say you want to upgrade your watering can. You use the rest of the day to go mining in the mines to get the ores that you need to upgrade your watering can, to cut down on your chore time in the morning, maybe, or something. I don't know why you do that. That's probably why I do it. You do that for a while, and you never do it like the day you decide you're gonna do it. You never like complete the whole thing. You gotta wait for things. You gotta find the right ore. You gotta go to the blacksmith. And let's say, you know, after 3 days, it rains one day, so you don't have to water your crops, and you've got more time to mine in the mines. So you go mine in the mines, and you get your ore, and you're like, oh yeah, it's only 2 o'clock. I got a ton of time left. And then you go to the blacksmith and he's closed because it's raining. I'm thinking specifically of Rune Factory right now because I think that's the most recent one that I played enough to remember a lot of. Some of. But you're like, well, I've got all this energy and all this time and I'm not just going to waste it by going to bed early. Like, I'm going to go tackle another thing and unlock some other area of the map that needs to be unlocked, or I'm going to work on upgrading a different tool. And then you start juggling these big tasks. So the next day, you go upgrade your watering can. You go to the blacksmith, upgrade your watering can, but you're already partway through upgrading the next thing too. So you can't say like, I've accomplished this big goal, I'm gonna stop. Because you, like, a lot of them you only save at the end of the day when you go to bed. So it's like, when you go to bed, you're like, now I could stop. I mean, that's when you would normally think, like, now I can stop. but every time you go to bed, like every single night, you're like, I'm in the middle of something and I want to finish it. Like, you go to bed thinking, I'm only going to bed not to save the game, but so that I can get more energy and more daylight to go do the thing that I wanted to do. So it's really easy to lose track of time. So when you have obligations, like job, I still don't have friends, but you know. Back in Super Nintendo days, there were like four elements to the game. There were crops and farming. Crops and livestock, which you could combine into farming, and then like tool upgrades and marriage, or like the bachelorettes, or like interpersonal relationships. And that's it. That's all you had to worry about. And then in like Stardew Valley, you've got those things. Maybe you can't get married. I don't know. I haven't played very much of it. But you've got those things, and you've got mining, and you've got fishing, and you've got unlocking new areas, and the community center, right, which has its own version of harvest sprites and all of that fun stuff. And for me, now that I have a job and I work 50 hours a week, is a little too much for a game, but I still get cravings for Harvest Moon, you know? Sometimes you're just like, man, I want to plant some crops and have them harvest them 2 days later or something. I don't know what the appeal is, but I really like the franchise, or I guess it's a genre now because of Stardew Valley. So I thought maybe if I went back to a simpler time, I could manage those things a little better than trying to tackle Stardew Valley level of, not like complexity, it's not complex, it's just there's so much stuff. So I went and I didn't go anywhere because I'm lazy. I had Amazon deliver Harvest Moon DS, the one that Dave lost, because I never actually finished that one. And there was a mermaid in there that I never got to marry. You know the mermaid, because you were going after her too, and I did not want you to. And so I gave you bad advice and tried to get you to not go for her. Because it's like, you know, if we're going to play the same game and make the same decisions, why are we playing separate games? Like, we could either play the same game, or you could marry somebody else, and then we could kind of both see all the cutscenes from each scenario, right? So it would be like we play through twice at the same time. No, it'd be like we'd experience one firsthand, and then we would experience the other one vicariously, but not so vicarious as like watching it on YouTube. Though I don't know that YouTube was around back then. It's kind of like if we both got Pokemon Blue, and we both picked Bulbasaur as the starter. I know nobody picks Bulbasaur as a starter, but like I picked Bulbasaur every single time. And like even in like the next ones, I always pick the grass Pokemon. I don't know. I'm the 1%, I guess. I guess with Pokemon it's different because, you know, you get 3 gyms down and your lineup is a little bit different. But with Harvest Moon, marriage is kind of endgame stuff. If we both make the same end decision, if we both marry the same person, then we're just ending up with the same game, even if we start out differently, which can be kind of frustrating. I thought was frustrating, but I was like a tiny baby at the time. I don't remember how old I was, but we were kids. I mean, I say we were kids, but I still feel like I'm a kid, so I don't actually know how old we were. So I get the game, I plug it into my DS Lite, my red DS Lite. That is so tiny now. It was great when it first came out, but now I've had the Wii U and I've had the Nintendo Switch, and this thing is tiny compared to those things. And my eyesight's gotten worse, so I'm looking at this thing and the screen's kind of dim, and I'm like, let's have this Harvest Moon experience, it'll be great. And I'm watching the opening sequence, and I'm like, maybe I should get a DS XL. They make bigger ones. They've made bigger ones. If I'm gonna buy a new system, I might as well get the 3DS XL so that I can play 3DS games. But I just bought the Nintendo Switch, right? I didn't just buy it. It's been a few months. I bought the Nintendo Switch, which is like a handheld and a console, and I'm kind of hoping that they'll just ditch the idea of having separate handheld and console systems and just make games for the Nintendo Switch. Like, I know it's not very likely. I don't have a lot of hope for it. Because as much as I love Nintendo, there's still a corporation that exists to make money, and if they make fewer things, they'll have fewer things to sell. And I mean, they might get some more customers just based off of... They probably won't, though, because the people who buy consoles buy them for the games and not for, like, the company's principles, necessarily. There was a rumor a while back. I'm kind of out of date on news because smartphones, but I'll talk about that some other time. There was a rumor that they were going to make a Pokemon game for the Nintendo Switch coming up here soon. The debate at the time that I read this was, is it going to be a main Pokemon game, like a colored game? I say colored like red, blue, gold, silver. Okay, it was like red, blue, yellow. Okay, it doesn't matter the order. Or is it going to be like an offshoot game like Pokemon Stadium, which wasn't a bad game. But if you were expecting a main game, or even like some kind of campaign mode, then it was bad. Because you think like Pokemon Stadium, alright, I'm going to go up against a bunch... I'm going on a tangent again. I'm going to stop there. What was I saying? Okay, so I'm playing on a tiny DS. Regular size DS. The DS regular. I'm watching this opening sequence. And remember, I was going back to this to go back to a simpler time, a simpler Harvest Moon. And then I forgot about this, but they launch into the 108 Harvest Sprites that you have to go and collect. And I'm just like, no! I don't have time for that! And then I remember you can't even talk to the mermaid girl right away. You gotta go build a relationship with the mad scientist first. And anyway, I turned it off and I never turned it back on. So, yeah. I know what you're thinking. You're like, John, that's not your car. And it's not. Surprise! Oh man, this is so dumb. Like, I want to start over, like, I want to just start over again, but I'm so tired of starting over again. I just want to do it. The microphone levels are way off the charts, and I know it's because I'm driving in a car, but there's really good lighting in a car, okay? Because you get it from all sides. And I'm wearing sunglasses, so I don't have to keep eye contact with the camera. That's a pain. Also, my glasses are very glary. That's how I should have started. I should have started... Hey guys, how you... Wait, how do they say, like, what's up guys? Oh, my name's Mallow Matt, coming at you again with another Harvest Moon video. Hey guys, this is Mystery Sock 1990 coming at you again with another driving in the car video where I've got great lighting and I don't have to make eye contact with the camera. Yeah! Yeah! Ah! It might look like I'm looking at the camera all the time because I'm wearing sunglasses, but I promise I'm not taking my eyes off the road because that would be dangerous and there's no reason for me to look at the camera. Man, I was such a dork. How did this happen? How did I get to be such a dork? Oh yeah, that part about having no friends. Except for my family. Because they can't escape. I love you guys. You're like my best and only friends. Best friends by default. There was something good I was gonna say. And maybe not go on a tangent. I'm trying to stay on topic. I'm trying to keep it brief. Okay? No, I want to talk about Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon! Harvest Moon! I'm here to talk about Harvest Moon. I'm not gonna get into it right now, because I want to talk about Harvest Moon. I'm here to talk about Harvest Moon. I'm gonna stick on Harvest Moon. Although I guess I'm done talking about Harvest Moon right now, so I don't know how to end a video.